Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness, and today we have Thunderfoot Behemoth. This is the new release from Reaper on their website. Absolutely beautiful miniature. I have painted this before. I think I painted it for Corey, one of my patrons. But what it is today, I'm still in two minds about the old speed paints. So what I've decided to do is we're going to work on this miniature and we're going to do some reverse painting and then add the speed paints to this miniature. Now I'll give you some examples of why I'm doing this, because I did the last show when we did the speed paints. Now I used the black and white zenithal paint priming, which is very good and it works well, but I'm still finding it's too dark with the brighter colours going directly into the black there. So what I want to test out today is whether or not we can use brown, which of course is my wood stain brown from MSP, which I absolutely love. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do 50-50 white and brown mix, and then we'll go on to maybe a 75% brown and white mix on top, and then we shall add the speed paint over the whole of the miniature. And we shall also paint the horns in skeleton bone, and then we'll add the pallid bone from the speed paints and see if that makes a difference. Let me quickly say hello to people in chat because it's already zoomed up. Okay, I've missed everybody. I know Scott was at the top there. Bull GM's there. Hello, Bull GM. Rod's in chat. Hello, Rod. And Waffle Witch. She can't hear me. She's on mute. My dad, the Goblin Emperor's in chat. Gareth, the Star Wars man's in chat. Hello, Gareth. And James McCoy. And Tal. Now, I'm quite excited today as well because I am starting to use the oval bases from MSP. No, I'm not MSP. Base Boss bases. These are from Reaper Miniatures. You can get them from the Reaper Miniatures website. Now, if you are a huge Warhammer fan, or the 40k, they use all these oval bases for their vehicles and things. So you could possibly use these for all your other types of games as well. I normally use round bases, but you can get a little selection of these bases. This one is 170mm. They also do one in 120mm. Now, I know James McCoy's in chat. He might be able to tell us the size that Games Workshop use for their miniatures. This is probably more the size that Games Workshop might use. This is 105 by 70mm oval bases. Now, you get four bases in a pack, and you're looking at around £12. You're looking at around £12 per pack for 4 bases. It is quite expensive, but the bases are very nice. Now, another thing I will say is a couple of my bases were a little bit warped. Now, that's an easy fix, even if it's for any type of base. What you do to fix your bases if they are a little bit warpy, just put your base into a big bowl of boiling hot water, absolutely hot as you possibly can. Now, normally you would put your base into freezing cold water, but because you're trying to get a flat surface, all you need to do is take it directly out of that hot water so the plastic is a little bit softer, and then put a heavy book on top of your base and just let it cool naturally with a nice heavy book, and that'll flatten out your bases. Anyway, talking of bases, we need to start on the base because I've got this little pack of rocks. These are small flat stone set, and this is from Spellcrow. There's a link in my sponsors below to Spellcrow, and they do all these little basing things for all your miniatures. If you are lazy and you don't want to make any little rocks out of clay, you can actually dot these around your bases. So that's what we're going to do today. They're little resin pieces, like so, and they're just little flat bits of stone, so you can just add them to all your bases, large bases, small bases. And I'm just going to dot a few around here, and I want to get them all stuck on before we start painting, because I don't want the super glue to actually ruin my brushes, you know. So we'll stick a few of these onto the base. Hello, HNH Minis. Hello, Night vs. Dragon. Hello. Okay, what I'll do, got this little plaque here. Now, these are resin, so you are supposed to give them a wash, but I won't be doing that today. I'll just be sticking them directly to the base. Thank you for subscribing, Goblin Emperor. So I'm going to stick all this one sprue onto the base. This will just add a little bit of texture to this base, because today what we're going to do is we are going to be using the crackle paint. This is my favourite crackle paint. This is from Green Stuff World. Now, I've got all the different variations of crackle paint, like from Games Workshop. But because of the amount of miniatures I do, I have found this is the best overall quality and gives the best crackly effect. Now, I shall be adding this to the base today, but of course you won't see the true effect on the show because it does take a few hours for the crackle paint to start crackling. Okay, so oh, and another thing, like I said, I've been testing out these speed paints, and I've also been doing a few little just testers on different miniatures to see if I can get the same type of effect using ordinary paints to get the same effect that we're getting from the speed paints. Now I'm just actually flattening and taking off the excess on this miniature here, these little stones. Now you have to be careful, this is resin. When you're working with resin, don't breathe in the dust if you've got any dust from resin, because that's quite toxic. So I'm just flattening these stones off a little bit. Won't take long. And we'll just stick these to the base, and then we can come back to the base. It's just important to get these stuck on first, otherwise you're going to have wet super glue flying around, and when I add the paint later then I don't want my brushes getting stuck together with the super glue. So I'm just making sure these are nice and flat. There we are, that's another one. Can't really see much when we're working with small items, but I'm just making sure the bottom of these little rocks are flat, and as you can see they're just little flat stones. They'll just look very nice in between the crackle paint. That's why I'm doing this. And like I say, these will fit on small bases as well because they've got some tiny little stones. Okay, that'll do. So I'll put my little mini on there. He's going to go in the middle, and I shall get some super glue, and we can just stick these little rocks all around. One there. Boom, he's on. A little bit of super glue. A little rock here. There, a little drop in there. A little bit of super glue. On he goes. A little super glue just there. And that one's on. And the last one, just a little cut off there. And we'll have this one at the front. Now we don't need a lot. The rest of the base will be all that crackle paint. But what we need to do is get all the little stones on first. Oh, there's another little rock I missed there. A tiny weeny one. I'll just plonk him here. There's another little rock. There's a tiny one. So that's our little rocks added to the base. So that's as simple as it gets. Just add some little rocks. I'll put that up there. Now, before we move on, I wanted to show you this little fire wizard. Now, let's really get some focus. Now, I was using the speed paints last week, on the last show. Now, as you can see here, I've used the orange. This is the orange speed paints here, and it gives that effect with the darker orange into the actual clothes. Now, look at the blue. This actual blue, believe it or not, is not a speed paint. What I tried to do was make the exact same equivalent using my acrylic paints, and I found out it's actually quite easy. So what I did to make the same color is I used dragon white. So you use dragon white for your main color, a couple of coats of dragon white onto the cloak there, and all I did was I used some denim blue. But what I did, I just add 3 or 4 drops of water. I just add 3 or 4 drops of water to thin out the denim blue, and then just did a complete wash over all the blue area. And it's actually given me quite a similar effect to what the speed paints do. So if you, it's just another way of doing the same type of thing that those speed paints are doing. You can actually kind of get away with it. And as you can see, because the blue has pulled in the recesses, that's given that kind of dark effect going up the back of the cloak. I'm not saying it's fantastic, but it's quite close to using your speed paint. So it is possible to add water to all your acrylic paints and actually use that as a, you could use it as a type of speed paint. I mean, I think that looks quite cool for a simple little. That's just watered down blue paint over white. So it just proves that experimenting is a good thing, and like I say, I do encourage it so much. It will help you learn the colours by doing all these different things, and it is great fun learning new techniques. So we are going to be using speed paints today because I really do want these speed paints to work for me, because there's nothing worse than buying a set of paints and you're not going to use them because you're not that keen on them. So what I'm going to do today is, we've got all our brown. Now my idea is exactly the same as the Thunderfoot painting, but what we're going to do is we are going to be using the hardened leather over this whole miniature once I've dry brushed in some lighter browns, and we'll see how that works, because I think personally these speed paints would probably work best over the natural color what they're trying to push out. So if you did a undercoat, primer coat of your blues, I think these will actually work in your favor, just like a ink wash really. Well, James, you can use thinner, of course you can, but I'm trying to save money. A couple of drops of water. But yes, thinner, of course. If I was using these paints through my airbrush, then it would be thinners all the way, that's for sure. Okay, let's get some paint on the palette and get started. So we are going to be using my wood stain brown, and everybody knows wood stain brown is my absolute favourite brown from MSP paints. It's the perfect primer paint because it's not too light, it's not too dark. It's like the little bear in the middle said, it's just right. It's just the perfect paint. So yeah, my favourite little paint, and I use it for everything. Okay, we're going to have some dragon white because we are going to be mixing these together. But what it is, I really want to see how this brown speed paint will play out. Now I picked this miniature as well because we've got lots of high detail going around this miniature. So we'll see how it pushes the colours out. So it's really a case of, I'm keeping all the bottom nice and dark. Let's get some proper picture. And we'll just fly through this quickly. And what I'm doing is my favourite type of painting. Get the old brown on there. A little blob of white. I'll just lighten it up a little bit, and we'll work from the bottom. We'll work from the bottom up to a lighter shade. I'm going very heavy because I want that colour to kind of pop through. Now it doesn't matter about the mess that I'm making, and the reason why is because we are adding that this paint is going to go over the whole of the miniature, so we're trying to get a nice heavy coat to begin with, and again keeping the light, the dark to the bottom there. What I'm trying to do is find out the best way for me personally how these speed paints can work for my future projects in painting. And again, this is fun because I love testing out paints and seeing what their good points are and their bad points. Now, I think this brown will work absolutely fantastic over the whole miniature once I've got all the light bits painted on. Again, let's go over to the front. Just get the same colour and we'll just work our way around the front there. Like I say, I'm not worried about going over the horns because they're all going to be painted anyway. I just want to get that paint in the highest areas where we're going to add that brown. And we need to make it get lighter and lighter, but I don't want it to be just white. I want to keep a little bit of creamy brown in the mix, so because I think that will work really well with that speed paint. Now that's just me talking in theory. I don't know if it will be brilliant, but hopefully it will. I think it will work very nice as a coverage. It should go into all the recesses. Okay, so we've got roughly the 50-50 mix going from the dark to the top. And now I'm going directly into the brown again, but much more heavier with the white. And we're just making it light on the top now. And trust me, there is method in my madness. Method in my madness. What's going to happen is once I add the brown, you're not actually going to see the brown speed paint. You're not actually going to see what I've done underneath. It should just become a nice tone going all the way around the miniature. But of course, we do still have to wait for the paint to dry. And of course, this is a speed paint, so why not do it super fast? Okay, just get onto this side. Okay, final one. Like I say, I don't want to go directly pure white, but we will keep it quite light right at the top. Okay. Keeping it nice and dark behind there. So that's all we've done so far. We've got a little variant in tone going to the top, is a little bit lighter. And all I'm going to do is let that dry now, and then we shall add that speed paint over the top and see what it looks like once that's finished. Now it will take a while to dry, so I'll put him over here and we shall go back to our base. Now when you are using crackle paint, make sure you wash your brushes, of course. When you're using crackle paint, you always want to use a darker colour on your base before you add the crackle paint. So in this respect, I shall be using some shield brown over the whole of my base, and then we shall do the crackle paint on top of that afterwards once it's dry. No, I don't think you can get refunds on your paints. I actually do like the paints. There's nothing wrong with the Speed Paints. It's just I'm trying to find a way that they work better for me. Everybody is different with their styles of painting, and of course we all like to have our own ways and our own techniques of painting our miniatures. So for me personally, I'm trying to find a way that the paints actually work better. Okay, so brown, we're just going over here, just going over the whole mini, the base, sorry, and we're going over the rocks. This is just so when what happens is when the crackle paint crackles, the base will show through if you do not paint the base. So what will happen is once the crackle paint dries, you'll get all the black from the bottom of the base coming through. So if you're after a muddy effect, you want to paint your bases with a darker colour than what the crackle paint is, and then that'll come through the bottom of the base once that crackle paint dries, and it does give a much nicer effect. I'll probably need 2 coats with this paint, as we are going over black. It's a very simple method. What we can do while this is drying, we can go back to our little Thunderfoot and we can start painting in the horns with our skeleton bone. Yeah, so it probably needs another coat. We just leave that for now. And of course the little rocks have been painted as well. Give our brush a wash. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Renegade Shank. No, I'm not making pork cracklings, Renegade Shank. Now, this is going to take a while to dry, but we should be able to get there before the end of the show. But what we can do is we can actually paint in the skeleton bone and all the other areas, so that'll take up a little bit more time. Now, this is the only problem we do have with having an hour show, is some paints take longer than others to dry, depending on how warm it is in my workshop. But we'll get there. So I'm just going to paint all the horns, because all the horns will then be given a coat of this pallid bone. This is again a speed paint. So even though it looks really messy what I'm doing, it does look a complete mess. Everything is getting a full coating of the speed paint. So what I'm trying to do is work out areas of this miniature that the speed paint will enhance. So we're kind of in a way painting it backwards. So if it works all right, then I'm happy, but we'll see. Also, while I'm doing this, which is quite boring for you to watch, I have had my Nightingale. I've had my Nightingale miniature from Reapermini. It's just there. This is for the Ukraine appeal. Now, what will happen is this Thursday, I think this Thursday is the first day of the Bones 6 Kickstarter, so I hope you're all going to be back in the Bones Kickstarter for all the awesome miniatures. But what I shall be doing on Thursday is this miniature we shall be painting on show, and I'm going to try and raise a little bit of money for the Ukraine appeal. Now I'm going to set my goal at $40. If I can raise $40 on the Thursday stream, I'll be absolutely over the moon. And that will go to the Ukraine cause, and any money I earn on my Thursday stream, every single penny will go to that cause, and that will be this Thursday this week. I'm just painting these little horns here, the little bits are sticking out. Like I say, it all looks a bit strange what I'm doing today. It looks like I've reversed my age in painting to like a 5-year-old, but there is method in this madness, so bear with me. Well, I hope there is anyway. Towel. Oh my god. H&H Minis, yes. The Nightingale I shall be painting on stream will be auctioned off by whoever posts the most bits on stream on the Thursday. Now what I'm going to do, I'll quickly show you, is I've already got a Nightingale open. So this is the little Nightingale. Let me get some focus. It's a beautiful little miniature by Jason Weary. There you go. But what I'm going to do, apart from my crappy singing, is I am going to use one of these lovely little trophy bases here. So it won't be just, you'll be bidding for a proper little display piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little nest on the display piece, and we'll have the little Nightingale inside its little nest playing us a little tune, and whoever bids the highest, of course, will take away the complete thing. So it's going to be a one-off paint, a one-off display piece. So I think it'll be very, very nice, and it's going to an absolutely fantastic cause as well. Right. And again, thank you to Reaper Miniatures for supporting the Ukraine, and thank you to Jason Webb as well for Weeby for actually sculpting such a fantastic little miniature. Now, I've already done some research on the Nightingale. Nightingales are I was going to say nightingales are birds. Now, nightingales have a nice creamy chest, and they have a nice brown back to them, and of course they sing beautiful little songs. Of course I did watch a few YouTube videos just so I can get the correct colours for when I actually Tal's laughing because I watched a few videos on the actual birds themselves. Now, my favourite bird of all time, as we're talking about little birdies, is, as most of you know, I grew up on a farm with the Goblin Emperor and my mum, who's probably behind my dad today. Now, when we lived in Lincolnshire on the farm in the UK, we used to get lots and lots of skylarks. Now, I don't know if any of you know your birds in chat, but skylarks are a tiny little bird that you don't really see. You can hear them, but you can't see them because they're all over the shop. But they gave the most beautiful, beautiful little musical birdie tweets. Birdie tweets. And you'd hear them from all over the farm, and especially in the summertime, and you'd hear these skylarks, and it was adorable. Absolutely, they'd be singing all day long. Absolutely gorgeous they were. Okay, we're plodding along here. The paint is starting to dry now, so this is good. This is good. What we'll do is we'll do the brown, and then we'll move back to the actual skeleton bone. So I'm just quickly going over all these. Very, very simple, very fast, very easy. I'm just trying to show you as well kind of how basic you can go to actually use these speed paints. Now, it's going to take you longer to actually prep your miniature for the speed paints doing it this way, of course. But I'm hoping, I haven't tried it yet, so this is complete test for me now as well. But I'm hoping that the effect will be worth the painting that we've done today. Thank you for subscribing, Mokai. 17 months. Okay, what we can do here, we can finish these horns, and then we can go back to the base, give the base another coat. So everything is actually working to plan tonight. It's actually coming along very nicely. I know it looks a little bit off at the minute, and it's like, Mikey, you're painting rubbish tonight. It's planned, believe me, it is planned. What we're trying to do is push certain colours through the speed paint. So it's a test. This is a complete test stream. If it works, then I'll be very, very happy, and I can do this for other miniatures as well as. So there we are, we got to basics. Oh, we missed his main horn there. There you go. A little bit of paint on there too. There we are. Now I don't even need to do. Oh, and I missed a few horns there. Goodness me, I'm missing everything today. There you go. I want to make sure. We want to make sure all the areas you want the speed paint on are covered, and of course we've left the dark. That's where our shade is going to be from our speed paint. So, okay, I think we're doing well here. Just a tiny bit there, a little bit there. Okay, good. So there we are so far. Very, very simple. That's your basic primer. So we've got our dark browns going to a lighter browns. We've done the front of our browns. And once that's dry, which is almost done, we shall be able to test it with that brown, and hopefully I haven't just wasted an hour of everybody's time. Take care, Michelle, it's absolutely lovely to see you. Okay, so we're going back to the base. We're just going to give another quick coat here. So we've got 2 coats of Shield Brown by MSP Paints going on to our base. This is just to make sure when we add our crackle paint, instead of seeing black when the paint crackles, it will become this beautiful colour will show through, and it will make it look more like well, it'll look like dried mud. It'll also make it look a little bit wet underneath, which will be nice. So I just quickly go around, and of course the 2 coats now are making it nice and even, getting rid of all the nasty brush strokes. Get rid of that. Go away, you nasty piece there. Also, when you are painting large models like this, flat areas, always follow down with your paint. When you are painting, just keep your paintbrush and keep going down. You can go around here, but follow the strokes all the way down your brush, down the miniature when you're doing large models. This stops it actually streaking, and you'll get a much flatter and more even coat, and you won't get lines when you're painting. You'll just get a nice even coat of paint. So just keep following the lines down, just doop, 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 and you'll get a nice even coat, and you won't get any nasty run marks, and you just get a nice very even coat going over the whole miniature, and you won't get any lines at all. So always keep going down your miniature in nice lines, and you get a nice even coat. Okay. Everybody's moist. Let's go and see if that brown makes any difference on this big miniature. Oh my god. Here we go. Right, I think this is dry. Yes, it is. We are ready to go. We're pulling out the big gun brushes. This is the brush that came with the actual speed paints. Okay, so let's cover this up there. Let's cover this pot over here. Let's turn my little palette around so I've got some room. Make sure we give this a good old mix. Yeah, super mixed. Now we get a good old blob on our little palette here. A little bit more. And what we'll do is we shall start with the top and work our way down. Now, it might not do anything, but I just want to see how it works. So, here we go. Here we go. It's quite it's quite a vibrant colour. Now, what will happen is all that paint that I've added will disappear, and it will just become one with this colour. Now, what we're looking for is a different variation in colours as it goes darker around the miniature. But what we want is what's happening. We want it a little bit lighter at the top. We keep pulling that ink wash down. I'm calling it ink wash all the time because it's so similar to an ink wash. It's ridiculous. And that's working nicely so far. What we do is we cover the whole of the plastic, even down to the dark areas, and what will happen is it'll all become the same colour but with darker tones, but not as dark as black. And that's the whole point of this exercise, was by using the brown I'm getting that lovely dark at the bottom, as you can see, and it's going around and getting lighter at the top. So yes, I think my little experiment is working well. Now, I wanted to do this to show everybody that you don't have to just use that zenithal priming, which is the black and the white. I personally believe that yes, it does look very, very nice. Thank you, Gareth, and thank you, Ty. But if you actually use the colour that you want, your main blocking in the colours, like this was the brown, what's going to happen is you're still going to get that beautiful dark shade, but you're not getting that ultra dark shade. It was too dark before, and again I'll show you again. If you look on this miniature, it's almost coming through as black at the bottom of this miniature. I don't want black. This miniature would have been actually better with a very, very dark yellow as your bottom coat going up. So what you can do is, if you're using the different colours for each miniature and you're using these speed paints, I would highly recommend that you carry on doing zenithal painting, where you're painting directly down with the lightest colour, but paint each speed paint with the darkest colour of the initial speed paint you're using. So for example, I'm using the pallid bone. I'm going to use the skeleton bone. God, I couldn't remember what it's called. If I'm going to use blue, I'll use a dark blue for the base, for the darkest shades of that particular miniature, and then I shall work my way up to a lighter, very, very light blue for the top layer, like we've done here, with dark brown, medium brown, and then a very, very light brown on the top of this miniature. And then by adding this ink wash, what's happening is it's blending all the three colours together, plus you're still getting that nice effect going around, but it's not too dark. You're not getting a black dark. So yes, I'm very, very happy how this is coming out. Again, it's still wet. It should get even nicer once it's dry. Like I said, I don't know if it'll work on all the colours, but it's definitely looking nice on this brown so far. And of course, going all the way around the miniature, the bottom of the miniature is nice and dark, but not over dark. If we'd used black, it would have been way too dark. This way, it's actually working very nice. As you can see, you're getting all the light colours coming through now. But still, you could probably do this with ordinary ink washes as well. What's happening with these speed paints is you are getting a lovely colour, but you could also do this with probably your Agrax Earthshade, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to again do some testing on these type of things. Now I am holding the miniature here, so we can't paint the whole of the thing. I shall just go to here and then paint the rest of the mini, and we'll come back. So we'll just work our way around here, around the fins. Now all this lovely brown should go into all the recesses, and then pull out all these lovely little scales going around the head. Just like so. So yes, there was method in the madness. Method in the madness, and I knew it was going to be okay. I knew it would work. And this is why I love painting miniatures, because even after 30 plus years, I'm learning new stuff, and there's lots of new paints to try out. And this is what's so fantastic about this hobby. I love all the different new paints. It does make it so much more fun. What are we doing? How are we doing for time? Yeah, well, ooh, okay. Speedy, come on. Boop, 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 boop. I gotta be quick, because you know Tal starts moaning. Mikey, I have to go. I can't hold my bladder this long. Oh, don't laugh, Mikey. You're gonna make a mess. Oh, I'm so horrible to Tal. Oh my goodness me. Okay, we're nearly there. Anyway, at least you're getting the idea. I'm very, very happy how this is coming out. I know when it's going to dry, it's going to look even better. So now let me go back to the front here so you can get a better view. Now, as you can see, this brown is really what's happened now. It's pulled out all the little, every single scale has now been pulled out just by adding those different colours. So I think this is definitely a thumbs up for me. But again, let me just go over what we've done. So what it is, we've got the very first coat was our wood stain brown. And then all I've done is I've added 50-50 wood stain brown and wood stain brown and dragon white. And then we just added about 75% white to the mix. So we've got a nice light top. Got a nice light top coming out. And that's, as that dries, that'll get brighter. I'm not doing anything behind there. I'm keeping that totally dark. So that's nice. But what's happening is that brown is working perfectly underneath. And we've got a nice dark shade going up into a light shade. And it's actually working really well. So even though it looked like I was painting like a total little 5-year-old, there was method in my madness, and it's actually coming out much better than I actually thought it would. The experiment is coming out very nice. That's actually looking really nice. I think that's going to be fantastic when that's dry. That's a nice coating, and of course that's just speed paints over the acrylic browns. Okay, so what we're going to do is we shall go straight onto the horns and see what that looks like with our other colour. Now I can't paint that at the moment because I was holding it there, but we can move on to the next part. But it's coming up a nice, that's coming up a nice colour there. That looks, that front of that looks really nice. Looks really nice. Ah, Painterly Git, hello. While Painterly Git actually is in chat, I am going to publicly thank him again, because Painterly Git sent Scorpio and myself a set of like Easter eggs, but they're not Easter eggs. They're golden Easter eggs. And what it was, they're these little Easter eggs, right? And we wanted to wait to Easter because we had these two little Easter eggs come. And what and what happens is you open up these little Easter eggs and they're full of miniatures. They're full of miniatures from all these different little companies. And there's a couple of little chocolate Easter eggs inside the eggs, which they got gobbled up before they even left the room. And they were absolutely fantastic, and it was an awesome gift, so thank you so much for that. It was really, really nice. And of course, we're not supposed to eat chocolate, but we did. Okay, let's try out this pallid bone. Thank you, Waffle Witch. I know you can't hear me because you're on mute, but yes, that's looking very, very nice. And of course, once this is all dried and finished, I will do a 360 video on my shows, so you'll be able to see how everything goes. But what we're going to do now is we're going to see how this pallid bone plays out on the horns. Now this is skeleton bone it's going over. Oh, we love them, Painterly Git. We love them. Thank you so much. So we just got a little bit of that there, and once again we'll use the large brush. And now I've got to try and hold the miniature here with this one on this leg here, and what we're going to do is just go over these we're just going directly over skeleton bone with this bone wash, as I call it. I'm going to call it bone wash, it's a lot easier. And okay, so look. Now it's quite yellow. Now again, Painterly Git is in chat. He was telling me that these colours sometimes or do wash into one another, so I have to be very, very careful how I do this. So what I'm going to do there, that's the bone colour. It's very, very nice, and that the shade should play out. But what we can do as well, just to give an extra highlight, is I reckon we can probably go over a tiny bit with some tissue, maybe some cotton buds. I reckon we need to remove a tiny bit of the ink wash from the top, just to lighten the top area, just like we do with my normal ink washes. we'll just take a tiny bit off each of the horns. This will give a nice lighter effect to the top of the horns. Yeah, that works much better. So again, you don't need to do anything else. All we need to do is just add the ink wash. I keep calling it ink wash. It's Speed Paints. I apologize to anyone. But what we do, again, I'm just taking away excess from the top of each one of these little horns. That gives us a lighter area on the top of the horn. And we'll just quickly go around. Boom, boom, boom. We can go faster. You can go faster. And don't forget the backs. And then just with our little brush here, take that off there. This is just a cotton bud I'm using. I'm just taking the excess off the top of the horns. This gives us another variation. That actually gives us 3 different tones. We got the actual skeleton bone, we got the speed paint, and then we're going back to the skeleton bone, which has had a slight stain in from the wash that we've just given it. And we'll just keep on going. Same on the back. Go back with our little cotton bud. Just take the paint off the tops. This is just really just to help give an added highlight to these speed paints. It's just, and as you can see, it's already looking fab just by removing a little bit of paint. We've got a 3-tone going. You've got the dark at the bottom going up to the top. Okay, we'll just quickly carry on. See what time we're doing. Right, we should get this finished. And I'll quickly show you the crackle paint before we close the show. Let me get these horns finished. Let's speed up a little bit here. Just taking off the excess at the tops. Boom, 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 boom. A little bit in there. Back on here, gone to the main horns. Now I am losing a little bit of paint from the legs because I'm holding this miniature by the legs, so I will have to repaint the bottom of the legs of this miniature to make sure it's all okay. And once again, all I'm doing is adding this ink wash all the way down. I'm letting it pool a little bit at the bottom because that's giving a very nice dark effect, so we can leave that. And then again, straight back in, taking off the excess at the top of the horns, just pulling on my little cotton bud across. And again, at the top of this horn here, leaving that nice and dark just in there. That looks nice. That looks great. That's lovely. So that's lovely. I'll leave that there. Nicey, nicey, nicey. And just pulling up a little bit of this ink, leaving it nice and dark at the bottom there. That'll dry beautiful. And then we got some nice bright horns at the top there. That looks absolutely fab. So there we are, that's all the horns. I think that looks absolutely, you can see I've taken the paint off, I've been holding it, so I do have to go back over those. But the rest of the body, you can see what I've done. That looks absolutely fabulous. And all I've got to do is paint the eye in there, and paint inside the mouth with some red, and that will be done. But let's show you this crackle paint before we finish today. It won't be 5 seconds, Tal. He is a very horny dino. Yes, like I say, at the beginning of the stream, I was a little bit kind of conservative about how this is going to play out. But I shall give those. I'm going to give those speed paints a 10 out of 10 for how that's popping. That's looking absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice. Very, very happy. So yes, I shall be using the speed paints a lot more. But most of my shows I'm going to try my best, which I will, to carry on painting. I will use speed paints in future shows, but I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to continue showing you guys how to paint the basics with your normal acrylics. But we shall be doing lots of probably armies in the future where I can show you the different effects using the different speed paints as I test it myself. Okay, crackle paint. This is the best stuff to buy. You can get crackle paint from all the different companies, and I've tried all the different crackle paints, but this crackle paint is absolutely the bomb. Now, what you need to do to make with this crackle paint, you need to have it at least like 1mm thick. You can have it thinner. But it can look a little bit off. So I find about 1mm thickness looks fantastic. And of course, we've painted our base brown. So what we need here, we got some little cocktail sticks. It's our little mixing sticks. And it only takes 5 seconds, so I shall be finished. I will be finished very, very shortly. So all we need to do our painting is make sure that everything's clear. 1 second, let me just clear a hole in here. The old pokey stick in there. Make sure it's coming out okay. Yeah, that's fine. And we just put little dabs here and there. Oops. 1 second, I've just got to clear this a little bit more. There we are. See if it comes out a bit better. No, it's not coming out. 1 second, guys. Pokey stick's going in. Nothing's coming out. Let's try that. It's going all over my finger. There we go. It's just being a funny fella. So all you need to do with this crackle paint is I'm scared the top's going to pop off when I'm squeezing it and go everywhere, so I got to keep clearing the head of the nozzle here, because I've done that before now, and I'm sure you guys have as well. Have you ever had a dropper bottle where you squeezed it and then the actual top's popped out of the out of the bottle and it's gone absolutely everywhere? Now what I'm doing here is I'm putting it in little blobs, and then all we need to do is just start moving it around. We're just pushing it all together, pushing it up to the size of our cocktail stick. So we're looking at just roughly a millimetre, maybe a little bit less than a millimetre thickness, and we just push it into all the recesses of the rocks and the base. It's an absolutely magical thing, and to watch it start to crackle is amazing. It gives such a wonderful effect to your miniatures. And we just add that all the way around our base. Just pushing it to the edges. Of course, once it's all crackled, I shall dry brush the little rocks inside, and they'll all be done. So we just push it into all the little areas here. And what we can do, the little bubbles, you see little bubbles in the actual, you just pop the bubbles with your little cocktail stick. And we're just pushing it around. Doesn't matter if the it goes onto the rocks, because we want it muddy I want it to look like the Thunderfoot is going through like a wasteland. I want him to be kind of looking for water, you know, and he's just like on the riverbed, and the riverbed is dried up. And doing this will give that perfect look to that. It'll give that feel for that miniature. Okay, simple as that. We just and what happens now is we just let this dry, and it will slowly crackle into a beautiful little riverbed, as you could call it, a dry lake bed. As simple as that. And like I say, it's about a millimetre and a little bit less than a millimetre thickness. You want to keep it about a millimetre thick, because you'll get the best looking crackle effect for your money. And that's it. That's everything today. It's been an absolutely fantastic show. I am so happy this played out very, very well. Like I say, I absolutely love experimenting with the paints. And again, let's have another look before we finish. As you can see, that is looking absolutely fab around the head and the body, just by using our dark browns, using then a medium brown, and then our light brown on the top, and then covering with our brown speed paint. So I would my recommendations for the speed paint have gone up a little bit more, because I'm very happy. That really does look nice and leathery, and it's worked well. But I will stress once more, I do believe what I've done today is a better way to paint on certain colours. So if you are painting in very dark colours, of course use your black and your white, but if you're using dark browns or light browns, as you can see, we've lost that really dark black. We've got a nice blend. We've got a lovely little blend going from dark brown to light brown over this miniature, and that's what I wanted, and that's what we've got. So very happy. So there we are. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful evening. Like I say, this Thursday I shall be doing the charity Ukraine appeal, and I shall be painting this little miniature, which I'll be giving away on show to the highest bidder on bits, and we'll be doing that on Thursday. So until then, have a wonderful week and loads of love to every single one of you.